In the vibrant city of Lagos, where the streets buzzed with life and culture, lived a young woman named Sade. At 22, Sade was the epitome of beauty and grace, with deep brown eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 stories and a smile that could light up the darkest corners of the city. She was ambitious, working as a fashion designer, weaving traditional African patterns into contemporary styles that mesmerized everyone who saw her work. Her designs were sought after, not only in Lagos, but also in other major cities across Nigeria. Sade lived in a spacious house in Ikoyi with her family. Her father, a successful businessman, had remarried after the loss of Sade's mother. With the new marriage came a stepbrother, Kofi. Kofi, 25, was a charismatic and intelligent young man who had recently moved from Accra to pursue his career in technology. He had a natural charm that made people gravitate towards him, and his passion for innovation had already led him to create a promising startup focused on renewable energy solutions. He was tall and athletic, with a calm demeanor that contrasted with Sade's fiery spirit. At first, their interactions were formal and distant, as they tried to navigate the new dynamics of their blended family. Sade often kept to herself, burying her emotions in her work and spending long hours in her studio. Meanwhile, Kofi spent most of his time setting up his business and attending networking events. They rarely crossed paths, and when they did, their conversations were brief and polite. Yet despite the distance, there was an unspoken connection between them, a magnetic pull that neither could explain nor ignore. One evening, during a family dinner, their father announced that he would be traveling for business for a few months, leaving Sade and Kofi to look after the house. The announcement created an air of tension between them, though neither spoke of it. Alone in the house, their interactions became more frequent and intimate. Late-night conversations in the living room turned into sharing meals and secrets, and the boundaries they had once respected began to fade. One rainy evening, as they sat on the porch watching the storm, Kofi turned to Sade. "You know, you're one of the most remarkable people I've ever met. I don't think I've ever told you that." Sade's heart skipped a beat, but she quickly masked her emotions. "Thank you, Kofi. That means a lot coming from you." Their gazes lingered for a moment too long, and in that silence, something shifted. Sade tried to ignore the feelings that were becoming harder to suppress. She threw herself into her work, trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy, but Kofi's presence was inescapable. She found herself looking forward to their conversations, his laughter echoing in her mind long after he had left the room. One evening, after a successful fashion show, Sade returned home to find Kofi waiting for her in the living room. He had prepared a small celebration for her, complete with her favorite wine and a playlist of Afrobeat songs she loved. "I wanted to celebrate you," he said, his voice sincere. "You deserve it." As the night went on, the tension between them became palpable. They laughed, shared stories, and danced to the rhythm of the music, their movements synchronizing as if guided by an unseen force. Finally, Sade couldn't hold back any longer. "Kofi, I don't know how to say this, but I think I'm falling for you." Kofi looked at her, a mix of surprise and relief washing over his face. "Sade, I've been trying to find the courage to tell you the same thing. I know it's complicated, but I can't ignore how I feel about you." In that moment, the world outside their home seemed to fade away. They were two souls caught in a whirlwind of emotions, defying the norms that had once defined their relationship. Their connection felt like destiny, an unyielding force that neither could resist. The weeks that followed were a mix of exhilaration and secrecy. They knew their love would be met with judgment, but their connection was undeniable. They spent their days supporting each other's dreams, Kofi helping Sade expand her business into new markets, and Sade offering creative ideas for Kofi's tech projects. they built a bond not just as lovers, but as partners, envisioning a future where their love and ambitions could coexist. Despite the joy they found in each other, challenges loomed on the horizon. Whispers began to circulate among their extended family and friends, and the weight of societal expectations pressed heavily on their shoulders. Said and Kofi decided to take things slow, understanding the obstacles they would face, but determined to navigate them together. They leaned on each other for strength, finding solace in the love they had discovered against all odds. Their love story was not just about two people. It was about breaking barriers, challenging traditions, and embracing the complexities of human emotions in the ever-evolving tapestry of modern African life. It was a tale of courage, resilience, and the unyielding power of love to transcend boundaries and rewrite destinies.